We're back on the Cowboys Fan Show. This is our final segment, and as always, it's time to give away some game ball MVPs. So, Scott, I'll let you go first. Who is your MVP from Sunday Night Football against Philly?
You know, I mean, Tyler and I, we text each other and we were like, who's your MVP? Well, I had a really tough time trying to figure that out. I thought that Zeke had a fantastic game in this one. But Tyrone Crawford had a phenomenal game. Sean Lee had a phenomenal game. I even thought that Brandon Carr had a phenomenal game. But there are so many different guys that chipped in. There was one guy that it really stands out to me that I can say is responsible for this win, and that is Jason Garrett, our head coach. He kept us within one possession all night. When momentum really started to shift and I started getting a little worried, and I mean, let's face it, in this one, there were times when I was worried, and we had a couple, and we were supposed to have a 3-and-out. Next thing I know, man, Chris Jones is running down the sidelines and I was shocked, and everybody, I know that you guys at home were shocked on that one, because this is Jason Garrett we're talking about. We're talking about Mr. Conservative, you know, Ivy League conservative football coach. I mean, just methodical, thought out, and we're doing stuff like that. He saw it. He felt what we were feeling at home. You know, there was a shift in momentum. We were trying to stay within one possession. I mean, we punt that away, and they come and they get a score, and we're down 2 possessions. I don't know we come back in this one. And we're still, I mean, we are playing with a rookie quarterback right now. He wanted to show confidence in Dak. He wanted to keep the momentum going our way. I mean, the fake punt, going for it on 4th and 1 in overtime.
That was big.
I mean, yeah, that was huge. I mean, he was letting him air it out when he needed it to. At the end of this game, Jason Witten catches that touchdown, and you're watching this entire team in the end zone, jumping around. I mean, it looked like a college game down there. These guys, I mean, Jason Witten is a 14-year veteran, and these guys are picking him up, putting him on their shoulders, man. And the first guy down there is Jason Garrett, you know, hugging him, slapping guys on the helmets. I mean, he got that big cut on his face from he's like, hey, he had a helmet on, I didn't, I just forgot. Yeah. He looked like one of the players out there. This guy is a phenomenal coach. I think he should be up for Coach of the Year. He's got this team rolling. We're playing good ball, and we've got some talent, we've got some good players, but nobody predicted this, man.
No.
Nobody preseason predicted this. We've been dealing with, you know, a couple of injury concerns. We've had the depth there. The next man up mentality that he's always talking about, it has really shown through this year, and I think it came up huge in this win, especially just with the way he kept the momentum going and the way that you see that these players are playing for each other and for him. I mean, Jason Garrett, I think he's one of the main guys responsible for this win this week.
You know, he did a great job. And personnel-wise, not really much has changed from last year. Aside from Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott, this is virtually the same exact team that went 4-12 last year. So for Garrett to rally the troops as he does, you know, and get out there and celebrate with them, I was reading that article as well, he loves it. And these guys have so much fun as a team together that it is basically like a college atmosphere in the locker room, they say.
Oh, it really is. I mean, look at the post-game interviews. I mean, Dez Bryant, he was open all night. He could have had a much better game. He only had 4 catches. He was overthrown a bunch of times. Terrence Williams was overthrown. He had to hold a guy down on an offensive pass interference. And everybody still after this game, Zeke Elliott included, giving praise to the O-line. Yeah, Dez Bryant, he ain't talking about. I mean, you know, he's like, remember Chad Johnson back in the day, or Randy Moss, or even you know T.O. Yeah, they're all talking about, hey, you know, we shouldn't have been this close. I should be getting the ball more, or whatnot. And Dez has even had seasons where he does that. And everybody's out there talking about how much they love their teammates and how phenomenal they are. Dez is talking about how Dak kept him in the game, and he had a terrible game most of the game. And these guys are still praising him and talking about how they got each other's backs. I mean, this is a phenomenal locker room atmosphere. This team is they're a team, man, and I'm proud of them.
Hey, you brought up Chad Johnson. One thing I'll never forget was seeing Chad Johnson at his locker, and he had this big scroll of parchment paper, and he just had names of defensive backs that he had burned, and he crosses them out. That guy was just an absolute clown.
Joke, dude.
So my MVP for this week, I have to give it to Sean Lee. This guy made plays up and down the field all night Sunday. He had 11 tackles, 6 of them solo, 2 tackles for loss. You know, that last tackle for loss coming on that big 3rd down there late in the game where he sniffs out the Darren Sproles screen. Sean Lee just all over the place. By far, I would say the Dallas Cowboys' best defensive player.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we talked about this earlier during the break, because he didn't get a credit for that sack, but I mean that was really him. Let's face it. He came right up the middle. He flushed him out. He had hands on him. And Crawford, I think, got credit, finished him off. But I mean that was Sean Lee's sack right there. The stats don't say it.
No.
But you're right. He was phenomenal.
He was just everywhere. So it's time to give you our predictions for next week's game against Cleveland. This one is going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff coming to you on Fox. Dallas heading out to Cleveland. Scott, we'll go with you. What do you think? Who wins and why?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think Dallas. We touched on this earlier. Is it because Cleveland can't stop us? They just cannot do it. We're the best rushing team in the league, and I think that we're the best rushing team in the league by far. Because when you consider the defenses that we've gone up against to get us where we are right now, I mean, Philly's front seven is awesome. I mean, look what they did to Minnesota
and Pittsburgh.
I mean, and they're just destroying guys. They're supposed to have phenomenal running games, and and we considered it a loss that Zeke only had 96 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're a little spoiled right now with the fact that we've been able to blow up other defenses, including the supposed number one rush defense in Green Bay when we walked in there. He had a rough game against the Giants in the first go, but I mean, it's because his timing wasn't down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been phenomenal on that one. And I think that we're just going to walk in here. I think we're going to be able to steamroll these guys, do whatever we want. I don't think we're going to kick a lot of field goals in this one, so I'm going to say we score 35 points in this one. And Cleveland doesn't have any offensive weapons. They got Crowell, who's actually running pretty well, but our defense is playing lights out right now. They got Terrell Pryor. But, I mean, when there's one guy we got to worry about matching up against, we got so many defensive weapons to stop that guy. He's going to be quiet all night because of Brandon Carr. I mean, if he's in the backfield throwing passes, dude, he's not accurate enough to beat these cornerbacks that we've got. And we're deep back there. Anthony Brown's playing lights out. I'm not even worried about the other injuries. No way that they put up more than 13 points on us, man. Not a chance. I'm going to go 35-13. I mean, if you're in Vegas right now, put money on the boys. They're going to beat the spread.
I'm going to go somewhere similar to that. I'm actually going to take Dallas 31-13. I think we do have to kick at least one field goal in that game. But as you said, Cleveland, they just can't stop us. And we were actually talking about this just during the last commercial break. Do you think Alabama could beat the Cleveland Browns, the Crimson Tide?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Fair enough. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, as always, you want to get at us, hit us up on Facebook. We're at the Cowboys Fan Show, or you can find us on Twitter at Cowboys Fan Show. And we actually have a little something to give away this next week. It's a nice little stadium seat, a vintage Cowboys stadium seat. We are giving this away for one of our fans. All you have to do is send us in, your questions, anything you want to let us know. Send it to us on Facebook or Twitter. You can email us, cowboysfanshow@gmail. Out of all the submissions we get, we're just going to put them all in a bucket and draw one random name. So one lucky fan will be going home with that stadium seat next week. I think that's about it, right? Anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, well, anybody that writes in and knocks Des Bryant again, we're not going to put you in the run after this last week.
He said it, not me. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cowboys Fan Show. For everybody here, our director, Javi, our sound man, Adrian, my co-host, Scott Jeter, my name is Tyler Ortega. We'll see you next week.
Let's go Cowboys!